Hey, BJ, very basic Bible with my super grainy picture, but as soon as I share my screen, I will be less grainy and yellowish back here. I don't know. It's very dark outside. No lights I have in here. I don't know. Well, hey, let's go through some Book of Ruth. Share my screen right there. Book of Ruth. Ephesians. Okay, let's find Ruth or Rutaha. So we're on Ruth chapter 4. Last time we read the entire book of Ruth through. I just read it. I don't think I commented at all. I kept wanting to stop and no, I'm just clarifying. Keep reading. Like this voice in my head. Keep reading. All right. So here we go. We got the alternatives here. Ruth chapter 4. Boop, right there. Last time there was a little bit of a hiccup. Let's read. Start at verse 1. I'll read in the NET, why not? Now Boaz went up to the village gate and sat there. Then along came the guardian whom Boaz had mentioned to Ruth. Boaz said, "Come here and sit down, John Doe." So he came and sat down. John Doe. It never gives him a name. Like I turn aside, friend, come over here, friend, sit down. So it never gives him a name. John Doe. Boaz chose 10 of the village leaders and said, "Sit down here." So they sat down. Then Boaz said to the guardian, why is the NET using the word guardian? Look, he said to the redeemer. Then he said to the redeemer. He said to the other redeemer, because Boaz was a redeemer. I just spilled some coffee, guys. One sec. Of course, we've read multiple times. We've talked multiple times about what the redeemer is. You got redeemers of land. You can redeem, God says if you have a donkey, you can redeem it with a piece of cattle. Because God don't want no donkey. You redeem your firstborn son. I believe it says firstborn with a cow. So your firstborn belongs to God. You give God a cow. You get your firstborn back. God don't want that donkey. So you buy it back from God. You give him a cow, you buy it back. Land, you can redeem land. You can buy it back from somebody. You can buy back any property, whatever. What about a lady? What about a wife? Yes. Not necessarily buying the wife with money, of course. There was slavery where they would redeem slaves. The slave would be in slavery, and then you would pay money and buy out of the slavery. Yeah. The wife has no husband. She got nobody taking care of her, right? She's just living on her own. She didn't like that. They wanted to be married. It wasn't like today, freedom for women, women's rights. They didn't know what they didn't have a concept of rights. Not the same way we do. Big old huge coffee mug. Yeah. They don't have the concept of that. So whenever we say like, oh, the women didn't have rights, yeah, men didn't either. Cows didn't. There were no animal rights. There's no such thing as stuff like racism, classism. They didn't really see it that God did talk about the poor and the widow and the orphan. Those are people that generally didn't have much. But as far as like this innate human rights or whatever, I mean, they didn't really look at the world that way. So a woman saying, hey, I am not free if I am not either under my father's house and my father's protection, or my husband's house, my husband's protection. Okay, I'm not free. How do I become free? Someone redeems me. Well, Ruth gets married. Yeah, she's been redeemed. She is free. She can now be a woman. She can have children. That's what women wanted. I know this is strange in our society. This is how it was back then, though. Remember, um, in a sermon a few weeks ago, I said part of Bible study and part of like preaching and teaching is learning to transport yourself back into the Bible times. You have to do that. So, 1 second. Let me open this up real quick. Type down everything I'm saying. All right. Um, so yes, this is very strange to us. We would think, no, you let a woman wants to do what a woman wants to do. Yeah. And back then, what did they want to do? Get married, have babies. Okay. Woman by herself, no good. Ruth, Naomi, Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi, her husband dies. Her daughter-in-law's husbands die. So Naomi's got two daughter-in-laws. They both get married. Naomi's got two sons. They both get married. The sons die. Both of her kids die. So her husband dies and her sons die. It's Ruth, it's Naomi, and her two daughter-in-laws left. That's it. A minute ago, I said her two daughter-in-law husbands died. Those would be her sons. Okay. So in other words, Orpah, Ruth, and Naomi together. Naomi's like, hey, go back to your father's household. Go find a good husband. And Orpah's like, okay, I will. And Ruth is like, nope, I'm staying with you. It's crazy. It's crazy talk. Back in the ancient times, no, it's crazy. I'm staying with you? Whoa. So, hey, they can take care of each other. Maybe Ruth thought my mother-in-law is older. In fact, that's probably what it was. My mother-in-law is older. She said she was past childbearing years in chapter 1. My mother-in-law probably doesn't have much strength and stuff, What's she going to go back to? Sure, she'll have her land and her property back in Israel, but when they go from Moab to, you can read all this from chapter 1, from Moab to Israel, what's she going to have? Whatever her husband had when he left, had somebody not taken it over, is what she has. Evidently, they're living somewhere, because it talks about her, Ruth, taking food to the place. 1 second, guys. Hey, so had to fuss at my cat or get his attention before he pounced on the other cat. His name is Saul, as in Saul in the Old Testament. So he's a little crazy. Our other cat's name is Barnabas. We call him Barney for short. So our first cat now has dual name, Saul for Paul. So there's Paul and Barnabas, but the first cat's name is really Saul for the king in the Old Testament. So yeah. We had a pet rat. We called it Titus. Pretty cool. But with the pet rat before that, Javier. There's no Javier in the Bible. So we don't always name everything Bible names. All right, here we go. Evidently, they have somewhere to live, because Ruth is going to a field and then bringing food home to her mother-in-law. They have a place to store all this food. She gets like so much food. Boaz is like, here, take more food, take more food. All right, she takes it back. She's got somewhere where they got clothes and stuff, because her mother-in-law is like, Naomi tells Ruth, get all dolled up, put on your best clothes and stuff, get all dressed and look nice, then go to the threshing floor to meet Boaz. Had to have a place to do that. I mean, are they living in the woods? I guess they could, but no. In ancient times, we think of brigands and thieves and robbers and stuff, criminals. We think of today, oh no, somebody might be desperate. Okay, back then, today people that make a living out of that, organized crime, people in the mafia or gangs. That's what they do for a living. Gangs, I'm not sure, but it's, people make a living out of being criminals. That's not really a thing we think of. We usually think of criminals like they're bad morally and they do bad stuff. Back then, I believe there were people that like That's just what they did. That's how they survived all the time. You did not want to be an old lady and a young lady living outside somewhere. No good. No cops to call, no street lights. There's nothing. You're so unprotected, get taken advantage of immediately. So today we think, well, there's lots of homeless people. Yeah, there are, and it's kind of expected. Back then, no, there were beggars and stuff, I guess. I wonder where they stayed. I should look stuff like this up. I should look this stuff up. Yeah. See, I'm kind of thinking it through. But whenever I think it through, I start to go cuckoo and then I get everything all messed up. I wonder where the beggars stayed. You don't see very many women beggars in the Bible, if any, I don't think. Yeah, I don't recall any stories with it talks about beggars and sometimes doesn't say if they're men or women, but female beggars. Anyway. Um so so Ruth is going to be redeemed. Not like a piece of land, not like a firstborn son. They're going to give a cow. Now I get what is that? That's for Ruth doesn't have a husband. Boaz says, "Hey, I'm a close relative of your father-in-law. Yeah, I'm a close relative of your father-in-law. I can marry you, make babies for you. That way you fulfill your job as a lady and your father-in-law's name does not die out." But Boaz said, "Hey, there is somebody closer. There is a redeemer closer to me. That redeemer should be able to have the chance to marry you and to carry on the lineage of Elimelech." That's Ruth's father-in-law. That's Naomi's husband who died. Naomi's husband dies, right? Yeah. And Mahlon and Chilion are Naomi's and Elimelech's daughters. Okay, pause real quick. If this is your first one, you're watching it, and I'm going through all this quickly. Got so many videos where I've went over this stuff over and over again. Here's what I would suggest. Don't go back and watch my videos. Instead, after I get done with all this and I start getting to the exact text on the screen here, after I get done, then pause it, go back and read Ruth chapter 1-4 and see if you can make heads or tails of what I said. Okay, unpause. I said daughters. I meant sons. Elimelech and Naomi, they have sons. Let's see. Control. I think it's Mahlon. Elimelech and all that belong to Chilion and Mahlon. Furthermore, I have acquired Ruth the Moabitess, the widow of Mahlon. So Elimelech's name will be passed on through Boaz and Ruth and their kid, and Mahlon and Chilion's name will be, especially Mahlon, will be passed on. Everything. Look, you are witnesses today that I have bought, not Ruth, but remember, he bought the plot of land. I have bought from the hand of Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech and all that belonged to Chilion and Mahlon. Chilion and Mahlon. Good. Furthermore, I have acquired Ruth the Moabitess. Okay. But in the NET, instead of saying redeem, so he redeems Ruth along with the land. He buys the land back. He buys Ruth, not really, but he takes Ruth, he redeems her. Now she's able to play the part of a woman. And that's what she would have wanted to do. That's what they did. So, hey, but for some reason, instead of redeemer, right there, redeemer, oh, look, NIV. Then he said to the guardian redeemer. Let's see what our other translations say. Let's see, when you buy the property from Naomi. I thought a tradition to buy while you're sitting here. Okay, let's look at something. Chapter verse 3. Then he said to the close relative. Yeah, the close relative. And he said to the kinsman redeemer. Why kinsman? Kin, family redeemer. He's in the family line. Yeah, he's related to Elimelech. He said to the next of kin, or one with the right to redeem. Yep. The closer the relative to Elimelech, the you have the right to redeem. Let's say you don't want to, or you pass away. Well, then the next closest relative gets the right to redeem. Okay. Kinsman, see here. And look at, then he spoke to the family protector. The other family protector. Near kinsman, yeah. But literally, since the NASB and the ESV, they're trying to be word for word, must say redeemer. Net took it and put guardian, but look at this, the redeemer. Oh, NIV, guardian redeemer. Redeemer, family redeemer. Yeah, they, at least the NLT got the family in there. So, all right. So yeah, that's why redeemer, but why guardian? I'm not sure. Maybe you're like, hey, you're the guardian of the family. You're going to buy Ruth and you're going to guard her. You're going to take care of her. You're guarding the family name and the family line to make sure it doesn't become extinct, to make sure the land doesn't go away. You're going to raise up kids as a guardian. Maybe, I'm not sure. I'm curious. Let's go see. Ruth 4. Now, the NET, right there. Yeah, enter. Oh, we can go right here. Right there. Now to change. Okay. NET, tons of study notes. There's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there. Okay, you get the picture. Okay, I wonder why guardian. Then Boaz said to the guardian, there's a note. I didn't know there would be, but I thought maybe there would be, since the Bible translations were kind of disagreeing with each other what exact word to use. Guardian, kinsman, family kinsman, redeemer, kinsman, redeemer. Let's see. H. Or okay. Or redeemer. See the note on the phrase guardian of the family interest in 3:9. I'm guessing that's Ruth 3:9. So we're going to go back. I could have just clicked on it. We're doing some Bible detective work. Ruth 3:9. 3 verse 9 right there. See Ruth chapter 3 verse 9. Who are you? She replied, I am Ruth, your servant. Marry your servant, for you are a guardian of the family interests. Let's see. For you are a goel, sometimes translated redeemer, or the NIV, a kinsman redeemer. The New Living Translation, my family redeemer. Okay, so they give, other Bible translations, how they translate it. Okay, for you are a goel, E-L, actually it's for God. So that means master or something like that, All right. In Hebrew, E-L, or, right there's the Hebrew word. I don't know. All right, the NIV, kinsman redeemer, NLT, my family redeemer. Okay, let's see. In this context, Boaz, as a redeemer, functions as a guardian of the family interests who has responsibility for caring for the widows of the deceased kinsman. So a guardian of the family interests. Like I was talking about, the land, all the property. He says he bought all the property, everything that they own, right? The family name, like the kids and stuff. A guardian of the family interest. What's the family interest? To keep your name going, to keep yourself going. To think, how could I keep myself going? I could write a book. How could I keep my name going after my death? I could have a little wall plaque that says, in honor of BJ Allen. That would make me sick, by the way. Please. I don't want to. I don't want to. No. Don't be honor me after I die. Okay. Honor God. Okay. My wife knows this. Anyway. Have a little wall plaque that says in honor of BJ Allen. Okay, my name's carried on memory, at least until I don't know that plaque gets broken or the building comes down, the plaque is in. Somebody doesn't save it. My wife moves and we lost stuff during the move, which we've done that. We've moved and lost important stuff. In the Old Testament, they would build a rock and they would name that rock something. They would set up a huge stone and say, this stone, we call it. So one of them, I'm going to call this place Bethel. And then so Joseph put up a giant stone. Bethel means house of God. Want people to remember that place. They see that stone. What's that stone there for? Oh, it's to bring it back to memory. Okay. Keep my name going by naming we drive over a bridge and it's like the something S. Munson Deputy Officer Bridge. Like there's an overpass and it says the something JJ Seacrest overpass, something like that. Hey, who's JJ Seacrest? I don't know, somebody's name, but he's got an overpass named after him. I don't know. In a road, yeah, like driving, beep beep, in your car. Oh, okay. All sorts of ways to bring your family, continue your family name. How did they do it? Land. That was the most important thing. Have a plot line. Why do you think, as we've talked about a lot before, the year of Jubilee, all the land and all the possessions goes back to the original owner? Every 50th year. So you got 7 years, 6 years, and a Sabbath year. You just let the land grow. 6 years and a Sabbath year. You let the land grow. 6 years and a Sabbath, 6 and a Sabbath, 6 and a Sabbath. That's 49 years, if I did that right. 7 sevens equals 49. On the 50th year of Jubilee, everybody goes back to land that they previously owned. Now you do buy it back. It says the priest will calculate, how many years you've had, or you will, if I buy land from you, but I know that say in 26 years, it's going to go back to you, then I'll only pay you 26 years. It says, if you look at last week's video, it said something like, the priest is assessing the number of crops that you're getting. Yes. You get the crops, sure. But who gets the land? Eventually, the original owner gets the land because that's the original owner. That's him. That's his name. Yes, him. Sorry, ladies. We did look at a story. We kept looking at stories. We did look at a story. You did look at a story. We looked at this in the past. We look at everything multiple times. Except for this time, I'm just talking through. 1 second. Sorry. In this context, Boaz, as a redeemer, functions as a guardian of the family interests. Yes, he's guarding the family interests. I guess the NET thinks that guardian, to me, guardian, that's kind of unclear, but they think it's clear. It's totally clear. Guardian of the family interests of the who has redeemer functions as the guardian of the family interest who has responsibility for caring for the widows of his deceased kinsmen. Mm-hmm. Elimelech is deceased. There's Ruth. He's going to marry. For a discussion of the legal background, see F.W. Bush, Ruth Esther, WBC. So 166 and 69. Okay. By proposing marriage, so I don't know who F.W. Bush is, WBC. I don't know. But if we wanted to see a legal discussion of this, because you're not supposed to treat women like property, even back in that time. Women we're often, hey, you're under your father's protection. You get a dowry, you give it to a man, then you're under his protection. You're not supposed to covet your neighbor's wife or his donkey or his cart and his land or his house. So it's like a woman is just like a donkey or a land or a house. No, not really. But they did end up treating it that way. Women are made in the image of God. God knows women have there were women prophets, there were women led stuff. God knows women are just as human as men, It's a different culture. It's a different culture, and they took advantage of it. Just like we're sinners and we say we want X, Y, and Z because it's good. It's good. We want this stuff because it's good. And then we take advantage of it and do bad stuff with it anyway. Exactly. God makes a rule. Hey, here's how we're going to take care of the women, the widows, the orphans, and such. And what do men do? Let's treat it like business. For a discussion of the legal background, say, okay, by proposing marriage, Ruth goes beyond the letter of Naomi's instructions, where Naomi told Ruth that Boaz would tell her what to do. That's right. Naomi did say that. Naomi was like, don't worry, he'll tell you, just say I'm a kinsman redeemer. Let's see. Look, tonight he is winnowing at the barley threshing floor. So bathe yourself, rub some perfumed oil, and get dressed up. Then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let the man know you're there until he finishes his meal. When he gets ready to go to the sleep, take careful notice. Then go and cover his legs and lie down beside him. He will tell you what to lie down beside him. He will tell you what you should do. I will do everything you have told me to do. Okay. So I always assume whenever she said, you're my kinsman redeemer, spread your cloak over me. She says that down here. Or whatever. I always assumed that was implicit in the instructions. If I say, if I say, okay, here's what you're gonna do. Okay, you're going to an interview. Dress nice, you know. Don't be late. Go in. There's a receptionist. Tell them you're here for the interview at 4:15 with Mr. Whiteside. They'll call you back. Okay. You come back and you say, I didn't get the job. Why not? Well, you told me to dress nice. I did. Okay. You told me to get there. I did. You didn't tell me to take the application. What? Of course you got to take the application. Why do I have to tell you that? Oh, also I was flirting with the receptionist too. I didn't tell you not. You didn't tell me not to flirt with the receptionist. I didn't tell you to. No, it's just you just know that. So whenever Naomi's like, hey, you're gonna go meet with it's just implied, whenever Naomi says, hey, you're gonna go meet with this person, lay down beside him, he'll tell you what to do. I assume it was implied. So I'm telling you, Ruth, that you're going to propose marriage. Don't worry, Boaz will take care of it. So go get the job done. Propose, tell him you're my kinsman redeemer. You need to take care of me. Okay. I always figured that was just understood between Ruth and Naomi, but the NET seems to be saying Naomi told Ruth that Boaz would tell her what to do. Though she is more aggressive than Naomi told her to be, she's still carrying out the intent of Naomi's instructions, which were designed to lead to marriage. That's what I figured. Okay. Kind of neat to see different points of view. Yeah. Maybe you should start reading some commentaries to see different points of view. We're trying just to go through the Bible, though, that anybody can get easily for free. So, all right. Did I go through all that? Okay, I just went through all that. All right, let's keep going. Then he said to the Redeemer, we're going to read it in that. Then Boaz said to the guardian, Naomi, who has returned from the region of Moab, is selling the portion of land that belongs to our relative Elimelech. So I am legally informing you, acquire it before those sitting here, the land, and before the leaders of my people. If you want to exercise your right to redeem it, then do so. But if not, then tell me, so I will know. For you possess the first option to redeem it. I am next in line after you. That means that other man was a closer relative. I will redeem it. Okay, the guy's gonna. Then Boaz said, "When you acquire the field from Naomi, you must also acquire Ruth the Moabite, the wife of our deceased relative, in order to preserve his family name." So last time I looked up name, we looked up family name. Why do you think there's so many genealogies here? Let's look at this. Let's go back to the NASB. That's a 95. That's okay. Nehemiah. Gotta say, Book of Nehemiah, right there. 1 second, guys. I'm gonna pause this for 1 moment. Be right back. Hey, here I am. Cats are chasing each other. Hopefully they stop. I don't know. We just don't want them hurting each other. Claw each other's face up and gashes and eyeballs hanging out and blood everywhere. Oh, sorry. That's just what we don't want. All right. Nehemiah. What's in a name? What's in a name? Let's see. Chapter 2, Nehemiah's prayer answered. Nehemiah inspects Jerusalem's walls. I believe it's Nehemiah. Forgive me if I go through all the builders of the walls. Look at this. Repair the old gate. Hannah and the habits to repair the valley gate. Okay, so they're repairing gates and such. They're repairing stuff. That's good. Work is ridiculed. Yeah, the bad guys gonna ridicule the, because they're trying to build the wall. They're trying to build the gates. They just came back from exile. The wall around Jerusalem, the gates around Jerusalem. You want nice strong gates so that you can get in, but when you close them, other people can't. And the enemy's plots. Hey, we don't want Jerusalem to be rebuilt. The wall finished. Too bad for you, bad guys. All right. Census of first returned exiles. Census. Then my God put it into my heart to assemble the nobles, the officials, and the people to be enrolled by genealogies. Then I found the book of the genealogy of those who came up first, in which I found the following record. Okay. You want your name in the genealogy. I say genealogy. You want your name in the genealogy. Your name traces you back to make sure you're Jewish. Your name goes back to your father, his father, his father, his father, his father. Eventually, hopefully, you will hit one of the 12 sons of Israel, which means you then hit Israel himself, Judah, whose name is changed to Israel, which means you then hit Isaac, which means you then hit Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, one of the 12 sons. They all have kids. You want to trace it back. Is it scientific? No. Were there perfect records back in the day? No, but they did the best they could, and they pretty much trusted they were accurate. See, look at the number. These are the people of the province who came up from the captivity of the exiles whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. These are the people of the province who came up from captivity of the exiles. The exiles whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away. These are the people, they returned to Jerusalem from exile where Nebuchadnezzar had carried them away, returned to Jerusalem and Judah, each to his city, the country of Judah. Who would they come with? Zerubbabel, Jeshua, Nehemiah, Azariah, Ramiah, Nehemani, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispereth, Bigva, Nehum, Baana, something like that. Okay, not banana. Yeah. So all the people came with these people. These are important people right here. Zerubbabel's a priest, Nehemiah, he's the governor. He's the main guy there. So important people. Okay. The number of men, like I said, of the people of Israel, the sons of Parosh, 2,172. Sons of Shephatiah, 372. Sons of Ara, 652. Sons of Pathu and Moab, and the sons of Jeshua and Joab, 2,818. So you want your name. You're all these people, like, I'm the son of this person, I'm the son of that person. Did Bezzi have 324 kids? No. You trace your family name back to someone important and you stop at that important person. So it might be your great grandfather. So the great grandfather is going to have, let's say they have 10 kids. Each of those kids have, let's say they have 5 boys. Each of those boys has 5 boys. Each of those, okay. Then you got each of those having 5 more boys. Eventually, all of them are sons of Bezai. So eventually, Bezai is going to end up having a lot of kids. That makes sense, right? The priests, the sons of Jediah of the house of Jeshua, 973. The sons of 1,052. 1,240. Man. Oh, this guy's only got 74. Oh, the Levites. Levites were pretty busy doing priestly duties. They probably didn't have much time to be making babies. The temple servants, the sons of Ziha, the sons of Hasupa, the sons of Tebuth. Servants, I guess, are not important enough to get the number. I don't know. How many kids? How many sons of Ziha were there? And then tell us. Right here. Here it is. Here's what I was looking for right here. These were those who came up from Tel Melah, Tel Harsha, Cherub, Adon, and Immer. I'm guessing those are the names of cities because Tel is like a when an army goes and defeats a city. They go and they defeat a city. They knock everything down, and usually they'll end up setting the place on fire, knocking it down. Then they build a new city on top of it. Well, then the next army comes in, knocks everything down, burns it up, flattens it, crushes the whole thing. They didn't have bulldozers, but they did it somehow. Then they build a new city on top of it. Then they get defeated, crushed, leveled, a new city on top of it. Eventually, the land ends up getting hot. That's a Tel, right? Tel Melah, Tel Harsha. I'm guessing that's why these are cities. And hey, if you're the son of Emer, then maybe your dad was Emer, and the town, because we saw up here somewhere, we saw a son of Emer, I think. Maybe you were from Emer. Maybe the town you went to was named after you, Emer. That happened. Okay. But so these people we're fixing to talk about, they came up from Tel Melah, Tel Harsha, Cherub, Adon, and Immer. They came up from those places. But they could not show their father's houses or their descendants, whether they were of Israel. They had a name, but they could not connect it to Israel, that is Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob's name is changed to Israel. That's why the country is called Israel. Why isn't it called Abraham? Since he was the first one, God didn't give him a country. What about Isaac? God didn't give Isaac. What about Jacob? Technically, God didn't give Jacob the country. They didn't get the land, the actual land of Canaan, take over and call it Israel. They didn't get it until after Moses. 500 years later, after Jacob. So why does he go back to Jacob? Not so sure. No. Why did God choose it to be Jacob? Not so sure. Jacob had 12 kids. Each of the 12 kids, a different tribe of Israel. Oh, sorry, digging my ear. A different tribe of Israel. So that's then God says you are going to be the nation. Israel's like, okay, I guess I'll do it. He told Abraham, you're going to be a mighty nation. Then he told Isaac, I promised your father. Then he told Jacob, this is what I promised your fathers, that is Isaac and Abraham. This is what I promised to them. And he gives it to him. But he doesn't give it to Jacob. Jacob has a mighty family, but then they go down to Egypt. They're taken care of in Egypt, but then over the centuries, something crazy happens and they stop being taken care of. They start being taken advantage of by the Egyptians, But technically, that's what they look at as their nation, Israel. You think they would have named it Moses or something, because that's whenever they act Joshua. Joshua went into the land of Canaan and conquered the land. He should have named it after himself. Well, he called it Israel because that's what God chose to call it. And so God said, hey, you're going to be the nation of Israel. That's just what they called it. So you can trace your name back But look at these people. They could not show their father's houses or their descendants whether they were of Israel or not. They couldn't show it. The sons of Deliah, the sons of Tobiah, the sons of Nekoda, 642. Of the priests, the sons of Hobaiah, the sons of Hakaz, the sons of Barzillai, who took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was named after them. Oh, okay. These searched among their ancestral registration, but it could not be located. Their ancestral registration could not be located. Therefore, they were considered unclean and excluded from the priesthood. The governor said to them that they should not eat from those holy things until a priest arose with Urim and Thummim. Urim and Thummim were like a ways of like kind of a superstitious thing. You know how there's a place in the New Testament where they cast lots, and they were like, God, which person do you want? Barnabas named Justus or Matthias? We trust you. They cast lots. It landed on Matthias. Matthias got it. Urim and Thummim seem to be, a lot of people think they're the same thing for priests. Priests are like, I got a question, God. They use an Urim and Thummim. I guess there's not very much information on it in the Bible, actually. So I'm just kind of going by what I've heard. But this is what it tells us. They should not eat from the most holy things. Why? Until a priest arose with us. So a priest has to deliberate. A priest needs to figure it out. They're not going to eat from the most holy things until a priest figures it out. Why are they not going to eat? Because they might not be related. Their name. They can't get their name back to Jacob, whether they were of Israel or not. They could not show their father's house or their descendants whether they were of Israel. They couldn't show it. We weren't related. They might not be anybody's kinsman redeemer because they're not related. Why do they do that? Like I said, that's just what they did. I don't know. It's a different culture. I don't know. It's weird to us, but hey, Genealogy. Is that how you spell genealogy? Genealogy. Let's see. Genealogy. CAL. Gene, like the gene pool. What are your genes? Genealogy. Genealogy. I don't know. No. World's largest genealogy site, Ancestry.com. If the Jews had that, they might have been able to trace their name back to Jacob. Who knows? Or Israel. Ancestry.com. See some Jews from the 6th or 5th century BC typing in on the internet. That'd be kind of funny. And you can see that if Malin and Chilion and their dad Elimelech, if they don't have a son, okay, if Malin and Chilion, Elimelech had 2 sons, good, his name is passed on. Malin and Chilion had no son. Their name doesn't get passed on. Elimelech's line dies right there. Nobody will ever be a descendant of Elimelech. His name will not pass on through his posterity, through his family, through his kids and his children. Forget the little wall plaque. Forget somebody writes and dedicates an overpass to you. Forget it. No. Real flesh and blood human beings. It's gone. What about the land, though? The land could go to Elimelech. But Elimelech doesn't have any kids to bequeath it to. He doesn't have any kids to give it to. Elimelech passes away. His kids pass away. Where's the land? It's just there. Oh, it's with Naomi. When Naomi dies, there's nobody there, and Ruth dies. The land's just, there's nobody to take it. There's nobody to redeem it. There's nobody. Somebody will take it. Somebody just swipe it. Just grab it. I guess. I'm not sure how that would work. I don't know. There's a story in the New Testament where Jesus is like, hey, let's go look at that real quick. Luke 20. I've been listening to Luke recently. Dude, yeah, dude, it's right there, right there. Oh man, yeah. All right. He began to tell the people this parable. Jesus telling the people a parable. When we, for our purposes, are not necessarily looking at this parable for the lesson Jesus told, we're looking at it to describe the culture back then. A man planted a vineyard and leased it to vine growers and went on a journey for a long time. A man went on a journey for a long time, but before he did that, he leased his vineyard that he had planted to vine growers. Okay, good. They're going to take care of it. At the harvest time, the man wants some of his harvest. He's on a journey. These guys, they got the land. They're leasing it. They're taking care of it probably. So at harvest time, what does the man do? He sent a slave to the vine growers so they would give him his share of the produce of the vineyard. Makes sense. But the vine growers beat him and sent him away empty-handed. Beat that slave up, send him away empty-handed. Hey, we don't want to give you any of this stuff. You know, if the people are there, the man's gone. This is ours. Is it? It's not. It's the man. The man could come back anytime, probably. And he proceeded to send another slave. But they beat him also and treated him shamefully and sent him away empty-handed. And he proceeded to send a third, but to this one they wounded him throughout. He's sending slave after slave. After he sent 3 slaves so far, they beat him all up, sent him away. All right. You think the man would be like, okay, I get the drift. Let's go in there with some armies and like get my place back. You know, let's not, oh, maybe I should go back. Dude, yeah, like these people are killing and beating up your, or not killing. In another gospel, says beating up your slaves and stuff. All right, look at this. Now the owner of the vineyard said, what am I to do? I will send my beloved son. Perhaps they will respect him. Let's see. But when the vine growers saw the beloved son, so the vineyard owner is sending his son, his real son, his actual son, actual, fake son, actual son, sending him a son. Right here. When the vine growers saw the son of the vineyard owner, they discussed with one another, saying, this is the heir. Let's kill him so that the inheritance will be ours. You kill the person who's inheriting the property. The person who would be giving the property away dies. So the father dies, the son dies. There are people living on that land. Who's going to get it? Probably the people living on the land. That's what they're thinking. That's their tactic. Well, anyway, what happens? Look at this. So they threw him out of the vineyard and killed him. What then will the owner of the vineyard do to them? What's he going to do to those leasers? What's he going to? He will come and put these vine growers to death. Will give the vineyard to others. Yeah. Pretty cool, guys. That's what's happening here. Elimelech, Naomi, they're just going to be Naomi's just going to be living on land with Ruth. Then whenever they pass away, nobody. Where does the land go? You would hope that they would be virtuous. But human nature, people want that land. They want that land. Give me that land. Give me that land. Give it to me. Produces crops. And it can be a name for yourself then. You know, produces crops, which makes you money. It gives you a livelihood. Also, it just provides you with food, period. I mean, they didn't have grocery stores you can go to back to food banks. What? Hey, somebody took my vineyard. I need to stay at a food bank. I need to go to a food bank, stay at a homeless shelter. They'd be like, what are you talking about? They didn't have those. I don't think they did. To my knowledge, they didn't. So you want the land for those reasons. It gives you food. It makes you money. Stays in your family name, right? So people are going to want this land. They're going to be like, hey, there's some land I can get so I can have more land. Naomi and Ruth, they need a redeemer. Right here. So I thought I would tell you of it, and say, buy it in the presence of those sitting here, and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, the field, okay? Selling the parcel of land that belonged to our kinsman Lamech. Okay. If you will redeem the parcel of land, redeem it. But if you will not, tell me so that I may know. Okay. There is no one. If you will redeem it. But if you will not, tell me so that I may know. For there's no one prior to you to redeem it, and I come after you. So the man said, I will redeem it. John Doe. Then Boaz said, the day you acquire the field from the hand of Naomi, you are also acquiring Ruth the Moabite, the widow of the dead man, to maintain the dead man's name on his inheritance. Exactly. I feel like we already read that part. Yeah. At this, the next of kin said, I cannot redeem it for myself without damaging my own inheritance. Take my right of redemption yourself, for I cannot redeem it. Let's look up something else about name. Look up name. I'm gonna look up great. Great name. BJ. BJ is a great name. Genesis 12:2. I will make you a great nation. He's talking to Abraham. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob / Israel. Right? Okay. And I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great. And so you shall be a blessing. You can make somebody's name great. Look at this, Deuteronomy. Let me alone. Why? God's mad at the Israelites, and he's telling Moses, get out of my face. Leave me alone, Moses. Leave me alone, that I may destroy them and blot out their name from under heaven. He's like, I'm angry with Israel. I don't want anything to. That's the context of this. Like, here, let's see, full chapter. Know then, it is not because of your righteousness that the Lord your God is giving you this good land to possess. For you are a stubborn people. Remember, do not forget how you provoked the Lord your God to wrath in the wilderness, from the day that you left the land of Egypt until you arrived at this place. You have been rebellious against the Lord. Man, golly, you're stubborn people who provoke God to wrath in the wilderness the whole time. You're in the wilderness. Even at Horeb, where they got the 10 commandments, where God came down on a mountain and spoke with them. 70 of the elders, the chief priests and such, some of the chief priests and such, and 70 elders went up on the mountain with Moses, ate food with God. Even at Horeb, they screwed up. You provoked the Lord to wrath, and the Lord was so angry with you that he would have destroyed you. When I went up to the mountain to receive, Moses, went up to the mountain to receive the tablets of stone, the tablets of the covenant which the Lord had made with you. Then I remained on the mountain 40 days and nights. I neither ate bread nor drank water. The Lord gave me 2 tablets of stone written by the finger of God. It's pretty crazy. The Lord help me, the finger of God. Pharaoh, Egyptians, talks about this is no other finger of God. And Jesus talks about driving out demons by the finger of God. So here God writes the 10 commandments about the finger of God. Okay. Then I remained on the mountain 40 days. The Lord gave me steps. On them were all the words which the Lord had spoken with you at the mountain from the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. 1 second, guys. Oh, it came about at the end of 40 days and nights that the Lord gave me 2 tablets of stone, the tablets of the covenant. Then the Lord said to me, arise, go down from here quickly, for your people whom you brought out of Egypt have acted corruptly. They've acted corruptly. God is telling Moses, these people you brought out from Egypt, right? These people you're leading, they're acting corruptly. They have quickly turned aside from the way which I commanded. This is why Moses is on a mountain with God, and they know God's up there, and they're still doing it. They have quickly turned aside. They have made a molten image for themselves. The Lord spoke further to me. The Lord spoke further to Moses, saying, I've seen this people, and indeed it is a stubborn people. Let me alone that I may destroy them and blot out their name from under heaven, and I will make you a mighty nation, mightier and greater than they. Yep. So Moses turns around and intercedes and says, no, God, please don't do that. But then Moses goes down, gets angry at the people who made the golden calf, lays a smack down. He's going to blot out the name of Israel. Why? They get quickly turned aside. They left. God's like, nope, we can't be having this. Blot out their name. So they're not remembered anymore. No plaques, no pieces of land with the name Israel on it anywhere. He's like, I'm going to get rid of them. And Moses prays, and God says, okay, since you prayed, I won't get rid of them. Oh, hey, God's name. If the distance is so great for you that you are not able to bring the tithe, since the place where the Lord your God chose to set his name is too far away from you when the Lord your God blesses you. The place where the Lord your God chooses to set his name. To set his name. Does he have like wooden letters that say Yahweh and he set them down in some place? Set his name. He's identifying with that place. The place where the Lord your God chooses to set his name might be too far away from you. Okay? If the distance is so great, you are not able to bring the tithe. You're not able to bring your stuff. You're coming for a pilgrimage. You're coming for a feast. You want to bring some cows, some wine, some grain, but it's really far to get to Jerusalem. It's too far to get to Jerusalem where God has set his name, right? God put his name here, but not there. For I proclaim the name of the Lord, ascribe greatness to our God. Oh, my teaching drop as the rain, my speech as distill as the dew, as the droplets on the fresh grass, as of the showers of the herb. For I proclaim the name of the Lord, I ascribe greatness to his God, to our God. The rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are just. Faithfulness is all God of faithfulness, and without injustice, righteousness, and uprightness. For I proclaim the name of the Lord. The name of the Lord. I proclaim that. Why his name? Why not proclaim, hey, how awesome God is? It's the same thing. They were just talking about how wonderful and great he was, how he, what did it say in context? Oh, the rock, his work is perfect. So God is a rock. He's steady, he's steadfast, he's stable. His work is perfect. That's good. All his ways are just. They're righteous. They're correct. A God of faithfulness and without injustice, righteous and upright is he. That's his name. I proclaim the name of the Lord, right? Ascribe greatness to this guy. I mean, this guy is awesome. He's faithful. His ways are just. All his work is perfect. Praise his name. So the name, like praise his name, praise him. Talk about how awesome he is. But you use the word, you use the name, praise his name. Okay. Oh, hey, look at this one. For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land will hear of it, and they will surround us and cut off our name from the earth. That's if Joshua, whenever they went to Ai and they beat people up, they got beaten up. Why? Because in Jericho, there's a guy named Achan who stole some treasures. In Jericho, Achan kept stuff they weren't supposed to. So then Joshua's like, let's go to the next town down. They send a few people, they get beat up. Josh is like, why in the world did we get beat up? And he's talking to God here. Oh Lord, what can I say since Israel has turned their backs before their enemies? Mm-hmm. For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land will hear of it, and they will surround us, cut off our name from earth. They're going to cut off our name from the earth, God. If look, we just laid the smack down on Jericho. But then we got beat up by this place called AI, right? The inhabitants of the land are going to hear about that. God, what are you going to do for your name them? They're going to cut off our name. They're going to surround us, cut us off from the land. Then what about your name? Nobody to represent you. If we're gone, you have no representatives on earth. And God looked at. So the Lord said to Joshua, rise up. Why did you have fallen on your face? He's like, dude, stop pouting, stop mourning, get up and come on, Joshua. They go through a whole thing where they purge them, get rid of the evil, and then they do go and beat their enemies up. And hey, let's say Joshua was like, no, God, we don't love you anymore, and we're going to keep the sacred stuff. If the treasures that we weren't supposed to take, we're going to keep them, and you can just and then God wipes them out. Boom. Then God's like, sorry guys, I can't have this. Boom. Oh, what's God doing? Gonna do for his great name now? Oh no, he can make another nation easy. He can do whatever he wanted. He's God. It's kind of funny that Joshua, but that's what Joshua knew. What Joshua knew was, people see my land, people know who I am. People see my wife, my cattle, people know who I am. God, we are your possession. Israel was God's portion. Israel was God's possession. God, they see Israel, they know you. God, you get rid of us, people don't know you. You see the logic, kind of the mindset. Is it airtight logic? No. Is it even kind of philosophical? No. Is it the way things were? Yes. 1 second. Portion. Let's see. Deuteronomy. Levi does not have a portion or inheritance with his brothers. The Lord is his inheritance. Levites, they don't get anything. They don't get something for their name. The Lord is their name. They don't get something of their own. They don't get their own portion. God is their portion. They get taken care of at the temple. The Levites work constantly day and night in the temple. They get taken care of there. They get money that people give. The food offerings that come in, the Levites live off those. So, yeah. A Levite who, look at this. The Lord your God, your sons and your daughters, your male and female slaves, and the Levite who is within your gates, since he has no portion or inheritance with you. Okay. But I'm trying to find I'm going to go kind of quick. He has no portion, and the Levite, because he has no portion, the Levite shall not have a portion. Now this shall be the priest's portion from the people, from those who offer a sacrifice, either an ox or a sheep. They shall give the priest the shoulder, the two cheeks, and the stomach. Yum, yum, the cheeks and the stomach. Tasty. Man. They shall eat equal portions. All right, giving him a double portion. I have removed the sacred portion from my house. Right here. Right here, you can get a double portion. On the contrary, he shall acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the unloved wife, by giving him a double portion of everything that he owns. For he was the beginning of his strength. So, if you got a wife and you don't love her, okay, the unloved wife, they practice polygamy. They had multiple wives. So, if you're a wife that I don't really like all that much, but I have a baby with you, and your baby is the firstborn son, guess what? Double portion for him. You can't be like, I don't like that son, so I'm just gonna give him a regular old portion. No, double portion. Yeah, I don't. That's the wife I don't love. I'm waiting for a baby from the wife I do love. No, it doesn't. God's like, it doesn't work that way. On the contrary, where's it at? If a man has two wives, the one loved and the other unloved, and both the loved and the unloved have borne him sons, and the firstborn son belongs to the unloved. Okay, belongs to the unloved. Then it shall be on the day that he wills what he owns as an inheritance to his son, he is not allowed to treat the son of the loved wife as the firstborn, at the expense of the son of the unloved, who is actually the firstborn son. It's because you don't really like one wife, but you like another one. No. You're gonna give the firstborn son. Okay. That's what it is. Look at, to him belongs the right of the firstborn. The firstborn. Okay. They were surrounded, cut off their name, the name of the greatest man in Anakim, great wealth, the great, for the Lord will not abandon his people on account of his great. Oh, we were looking for portion. Giving him a double. Okay, look at this. Oh, you shall say before the Lord your God, I have removed the sacred portion from my house and have also given it to the Levite, the stranger, the orphan, and the widow, in accordance with all your commandments. Okay, God, I've got food that you gave me, but the sacred portion, the sacred part, the sacred set aside stuff, I've given it to the Levite. I've given it to the poor and the widow. I have not violated or forgotten any of your commandments. God, I took a section of the stuff you gave me, the sacred stuff, and I used it for what you asked me. I used that portion of stuff for what you asked me. Down here, look at this. There's my wife coming down the stairs, and I got to be done quick because we are going to Half Price Books to get a friend a book. Yeah. Deuteronomy 32:9. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the allotment of his inheritance. The Lord's portion. Israel is the Lord's portion. You want your name to go back to Israel, who is the Lord's chosen portion? Israel. Yes, the Lord could have chosen all sorts of people, but he chose Abraham. He called Abraham. He said, hey, Abraham, I'm going to make you a great and mighty nation. Your son and his son after you. All right. Now, instead of being known as Abrahamites, they're known as Israelites because Israel had the 12 sons who they then had the big 12 thing. That's the way it worked out. So instead of, for the Lord's portion is his people, Abraham is the allotment of his heritage. For some reason, it goes back to Jacob instead. For whatever reason. You read the New Testament, they talk about being sons of Abraham, sons of Abraham. You know, Abraham this, Abraham that. They hardly ever talk about Jacob, but for some reason, in the Old Testament, it was all Jacob and Israel. That's where the name came from. So God has the name, the portion of Israel. That's who's God's. We have a portion of stuff. The son gets a double inheritance of stuff. The person, you want your name to continue, so you have the portion, you have the stuff. Yahweh is the name. I'm going to look up name real quick. I have looked up. Boop. Revelation, Luke, Acts. Luke looks good. Let's see. I received a child in my name. Oh, I went to great. Okay. All right. Here we go. Romans. Let's look real quick. Among all the Gentiles for his name's sake. Obedience of faith among all the Gentiles for his name's sake, for God's name. Elimelech's name, Jacob's name. If you bear the names you. The name of God is blaspheming among the Gentiles. Elimelech's name is going to be cut off. And like God's name is going to be blasphemed. We talked about this. Through Isaac, your descendants will be named. Through Isaac, your descendants will be named. Look at this. And God, that my name, God, for this very purpose, I raised up Pharaoh to demonstrate my power in you, and that my name might be proclaimed throughout the whole earth. God wants his name proclaimed throughout the whole. We don't want our name to die out. God says, I'm not worried about Elimelech. He didn't want his name to die out. I want my name proclaimed throughout the whole earth. So God said, I'm going to make it happen. Philippians. And then I got to go for this full chapter. Okay. So this whole name thing, very important. Was Elimelech, was Ruth and Boaz, were they thinking of this at, Naomi? No, they were thinking of just name in general, just hey, our name's gonna die out. Wouldn't want that. Oh no. We want the field because it carries on the family name. Oh, that's unthinkable for it to die out. That would be a travesty. That's what they were thinking. They were protecting their family, their posterity. What does God want, though? 5, have this attitude in yourselves, which is also in Christ Jesus, who, although Jesus existed in the form of God, Jesus did not regard equality with God a thing to be grasped. Jesus is existing in the form of God, but he's not grasping after the equality with God. Instead, what did Jesus do? Emptied himself, took on the form of a bondservant, being made in the likeness of men. It sounds like he's going to lose his name. Being found, did he get rid of his portion? Was his portion his godhood? I'm not sure. I'm mixing the metaphors a little bit. Being found in the appearance as a man, Jesus humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. For this reason, because Jesus humbled himself and became obedient, even death on a cross, God highly exalted Jesus, bestowed on him the name which is above every name, so that at the name of Jesus, every knee will bow, of those who are where? In heaven and on earth and even under the earth. Every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. A name is very important, and we can see now how something from Ruth can continue on through the New Testament. You can learn concepts in the Old Testament that continue on. God wants to be recognized, not just so that, oh no, my name might die out and people might not know who I am. No. God wants to be known by everybody everywhere. King of the universe. His portion is not just Israel anymore. Jesus' portion is a universe. All of reality. It's pretty cool. Like I said, Boaz, Ruth, Naomi, they weren't thinking of Jesus being raised up. They weren't even thinking of God necessarily. They were trying to get their name. But it turns out their name goes through. These are descendants of Perez. Perez became the father of Hezron. There's some names. Hezron of Ram, of Aminadab, Aminadab of Nation, Nation of Salmon, Salmon of Boaz, Boaz of Obed, Obed of Jesse, and Jesse of David. Through David comes Jesus eventually. God promises David all sorts of great things. And then Jesus is the son of David. Jesus is the Messiah, modeled kind of after David. Talks about David this and David that as the one who's going to come to rule and reign. And Jesus said, hey, I am that David. Jesus comes. So Elimelech and Ruth and Naomi, they didn't know they were going to be in salvation history. We can see the providence that God is working. We can see where God takes something that we might not even know about and works it to his glory. It's pretty cool. Okay, guys, stop, share. I'm going to pray real quick, and then we'll go. My wife go to Half Price Books. She's sitting over there with her jacket on. She's ready to go. Lord God, thank you for being good to us. I don't want my name. I just want your name. I want your name to continue, Lord. Thanks for helping us understand the importance of this stuff to the people back then in the Bible, and how we can apply it to you today. In your name we pray. Amen. In your name we pray. See? To his name. Okay, guys. We'll see y'all on the next very basic Bible, I guess. Maybe somebody watching this will see me like tomorrow. Oh, probably not. Okay, bye.